Good evening, everyone. This is Rodney with the Triton Wave Market Outlook for Monday, May 12th, 2014. And this is brought to you by Triton Wave Consulting, home of the Triton Waves. The Triton Waves are early warning, market timing indicators used in all time frames in all markets worldwide. I want to start off by wishing everyone a happy Mother's Day, and I hope you're having fun going out to restaurants and everything that you do to celebrate the great moms in your life. Let's take a look at the S&Ps. It's now 5:30 Central Time on Sunday evening, and you can notice that the line of tops up here on the S&Ps right here going back to, this is like a triple top, going back to early March. You can almost look at this as a shoulder, and this is a head, and this is another shoulder. Okay, these are the S&P futures. Now, if we look at the Dow has actually hit a new all-time high. You can see this line going all the way across here. This was actually a new high. This is not a live chart. This is a cash index on the Dow, whereas the S&P has not. So now let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Completely the opposite. Nasdaq has been trending down from the top. I don't think the market's going to move up much higher unless the Nasdaq can breach this line right here, back up to its 21, and crossing the 21 up to the 55, and then taking off some more. It looks like, excuse me, like even though this started heading down up here, the 21 and the 55 crossed right here, and about 2 days before that, T1 crossed over. Now, for those new people, this is Triton Wave 1, Triton Wave 2, Triton Wave 3, Triton Wave 4. This is version 3.5 and 4.0 of the new Triton Waves. They're about 3 months old, and they're telling much clearer stories, much clearer picture of what they have in the past, or they get more clear as time goes on. So this looks like the trend line that this is hitting. If it does not, if this turns around and goes back down again, then we could be looking at 38.50, 38.30 on the composite, on the Nasdaq. Okay, this is a picture of the bonds. The bonds have a completely different picture of what's going on. The bonds are in an up move starting way back here in December. They confirmed it with completely above zero back in January, and again above zero, and this is just about to go above zero now. So the bond market's moving up. The stock market is not if the stock market were actually going up, I would expect the bond market to be somewhere down in this area, but it's got a nice trend up here. So the 21 and the 55 have crossed above zero back at the beginning of January, and has zigzagged up. They never crossed. The 21 is still above the 55, and now it's crossing the minor, this dark blue line, or light blue line, is crossed. The 21 is now crossed over there, and I expect this to keep zigzagging up there, which does not give me a good feeling about the S&P or the Dow. To me, it looks like a topping action is going on. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold came down and slammed into the major Triton wave right here, Bing, right at about 1269. Bounced up into the 2155, came down hit the major Triton wave, and this time it went through the 21, and right now it doesn't, and because from this point on in January it moved above zero, you can see the line that it took off. This went above zero, this is about to go above zero, and the longest term one right here. So I'm looking for some more sideways action, and we have to look at smaller time frame charts to see whether it's going to take off like this or come down like this. So let's take a look at the smaller time frame ones. All right, I'm looking at the 21 right here. It's really difficult to see. This is 21 continuous chart right here. It's like a 24-hour chart. So that just started up again at 5 o'clock tonight. And you can see where it went below zero right in here, about here. You took a little bit of heat for about 15 points, and then it slammed down. Right now, because T1 is above zero, it looks like it wants to make its way back up to 1295. But I'm not really sure with T4 and T3 and T2 below zero that this is really going to amount to much. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. I don't know whether right now it doesn't really, it's not showing its hand whether it's going to make a big move in either direction. Okay, if we look at the 987 tick chart on gold, we can see some moves here. When this was completely above zero, it started fudging above zero on the white line, but you see the purple line right here? That didn't actually go above, the purple wave, that didn't actually go above zero until right about here. And it stayed up until about here. So that's been about the cleanest move, and that was about hang on one second. Okay, this was about seven or eight trading days ago. So that was a very nice move. When this went below zero on T1 and confirmed it on T2, that was a nice move down. Right now, we're in neutral position because 2, 3, and 4 are below zero, and we have to just wait and see what happens. It could come back up to 1294 or 1297, and then I'm really not sure from then. It's really not clear what gold is going to do right now. Okay, along with the NASDAQ going down, I just wanted to do kind of like a detail of what's going on with Apple. Apple obviously is its own animal. When it crossed over back here last July, it just took off like a crazy person. You see the 21 and the 55 crossed, and it still remained uncrossed until it came way back up to here. So we're looking at 400 to 570, and then it just started to trickle down a little bit here, and then earnings came out. It did come down and touch the minor Triton wave right here, twice actually. Once back in February, and now in April. It took off from there after the earnings came out, but I want to show you on a but even with this popping up right here to 600, the T1 Triton wave 1 is barely above zero. So that's not a good sign for Apple right here. Let's see what it's doing on a smaller time frame chart. All right, on a smaller time frame, it's pretty clear that Apple went below zero here and right here for this move from 540 down to 510. Okay, but then it crosses above zero back in the middle of April, and then confirms, and when this is completely above zero here, completely above zero here, and even if you were not aware that earnings were coming out, you would play this to the upside, and if you were basically gutsy enough to hold on to it during earnings, you had a phenomenal play of a 520 up to about, when this crossed right here, in about 590. So now it's below zero here, and it just went below zero on Friday's trade. So, and one other thing to notice here is this whole move up here, the 21 and the 55. 21 is above the 55 and doesn't cross over until this period right here, which is on May 7th, which was this past week. Okay, so from May 7th to 596, it goes down to 581, and it's still not crossed down, and T1 and T2 are now completely below zero. So my expectation of Apple, and I don't know how soon this is going to happen because this looks like a zigzag pattern, and it is against the Dow and the ES, but it is in line with the NASDAQ. So I am looking for an initial target of this Triton minor wave right here at 572, which kind of matches the top of this the top of this area here after it took off after earnings. So 572, 570 is what I'm looking for on Apple. If you like day trading Apple, then there are some opportunities on the 377 tick chart. You can see where it starts going above zero here. This goes sideways, so you're not right up to resistance where the minor and major Triton wave come together. But look at this downside move. This is a nice move from about 592, 593 down to where this crosses right here, and this happened on Friday, to about 580, 583, and then it takes off into the close. It gained 5 points right at this cross. So if you're paying attention and you're a day trader, then you're either selling put credit spreads or naked puts, or you're buying calls into the close. Gutsy, but a lot of the times it works. All right, let's take a look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn, the waves don't fill in very well here, but I just wanted to show you the 21 and the 55 cross here, because the information only goes back to June of 2011, because that's when the IPO was. And these are very long-term waves, so you're not going to see it very clearly. But in this instant, the 21 and the 55 crossed here just a couple days before it crossed on T1. And the 21 has stayed below the 55 the entire way down. And not only that, it has crossed the minor wave on both accounts. In other words, 21 is below 55, and they're both below the minor Triton wave right here. So we could see a little uptick to 159, and we'll look at that on a smaller time frame chart. But this has definitely been zigzagging down from about, let me see, this number is 232, and it hit 138. So this happened over a course of November 2013 to the present. So basically, this is a nice channel that's developing. It's going into a steeper curve right now. So that means once it starts going to a steeper curve, then the reactions can be more severe, like this move right down here. So you want to wait until it runs up first. You don't want to be stuck in from 199 to 232 trying to defend your position, or once it hits the minor wave right here. And actually, we did call this one from 222 down to 185. But then look at the bounce that it took from 184 to 218. So you don't want to be stuck in there with puts and let them go against you, and by the time they come back and match it, your premium has completely evaporated and you're just like hanging onto your seat. So if we look at a smaller time frame chart on LinkedIn, this is what we get here. When this first major move went down, this was a little bit iffy right here, but this is clean, and this is clean. So this happened right around 175. I mean, out to the left of this chart, you know, it's back up into 200. But I'm just showing you a more recent chart. And then even T1, it's been clean all the way through here, and you're looking for clean trade. You're not looking anytime it kind of blips above, then you have to go to the next wave down. So I'm looking for this, and then a confirmation when it's completely above zero here, and that's the capture there, and you're going to miss the bottom by a little bit, and then you're going to capture this up here. Okay, so once this hits, the target actually would be the minor Triton wave, and if you try to get in and short it right there with this above zero, then you're asking for trouble. You have to wait until at least one of them goes down. So you're kind of gonna miss out this area, but then you're gonna capture this on the downside and this on the downside, and now when it goes back up again, bing, 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 then you can get some of this. This would definitely be a counter trade. You use half as much because it doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to go up. It could go sideways, and then you'd start losing premium. So you use half or a quarter of a normal trading size just in case you get caught. But it happened to work out this time. So right now I'm waiting for, since the 21 and the 55 on the 5-minute chart up here, since the 21 and the 55 is 21 is still above the 55, and it's back above, and both lines are above the minor Triton wave, I'm looking for this to go sideways to up, and maybe even burst up into 151, 158. If it does, it's definitely a sell. Let me see what 158 looks like on the daily. 158, 157, 158 is the 21 EMA. That looks really, really good. So if you wanted to play LinkedIn on the downside, be very cautious. On the upside is a counter trend trade, but on the downside it looks pretty good. Okay, Goldman Sachs, another stock that I've been looking at. It came down here. The rule of thumb is that once it crosses the 21 and the 55, you wait till it comes back up here. And to me, this would have been an entry point. You definitely would have taken some heat from 167 to 175, but then it came down and hit the minor Triton wave because these are all below zero, and this was moving below zero. So you're not always going to get, you are going to take some heat sometimes, but this is an early warning system, so you don't want to, you're not going to make every single play cleanly and perfectly, but right now the 21 is below the 55, and it's already bounced off the minor once, twice, 3 times, and we'll have to see what happens. But I'm looking for continued downside zigzag action as soon as the 21 breaches on the downside, the minor Triton wave. Then this could just, like, you see this tank right here? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 142 eventually in a few days, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks, of Goldman Sachs. Okay, and one more tonight. I'm going to make it in a slightly shorter video. It's Mother's Day. I'm going to show you, let's see here. This is a 5-minute on Tesla, just a 5-minute cash price. You can see when it goes below zero on T1. Here, on some of these you're going to miss the top, which is fine. The 21 and the 55 have crossed below here, and it goes all the way down to the to the to the minor wave. So we're talking about like 213 down to about 207. So it's a short move, but if you're following, if you want to play the bounce here, because these waves have very powerful resistance and support to them, you take half off here, and if it bounces up against you up into the major wave, that's fine as long as T1 is below 0. Okay, so this has its own waves. It's a wave within a wave. So this is like 1, 2, 3, kind of like see rounded areas right here, and it appears differently up here because the waves are actually coded to act differently. But right here on this bottom wave, you're getting a hint that this is a non-conformation on the downside. And even though this is a 3 lows in a row, these are 3 highs in a row, three lower highs in a row. So you have to keep your eye out for that. And when that goes above 0 right in here, you pop out of it. So you actually could have gotten most of this move right down here into 190, about 192, 190 area. And then when this goes above, you can actually play these very short term, regardless of what's going on in the daily, and ride that up into the major Triton wave here. And then it's kind of like, it's a little bit iffy in here. The next one, okay, so the wave that looks the smoothest without going above and below is this orange wave T3, which goes below right here, which would put us right about here at 210, and then you can get out of the first close above 0 on T1, which is about 180. So that was about a 4-day move. Let me see, 1, 2. Okay, so 3-day move from about 210, 212 down to 180. All right, let's take one more look at the ES. It looks like it started to come down here on Friday, right in here, and then did kind of a reversal at about 215, and just like broke up. And now this is the this area right here is the let me see here. Bing. This area right here is the opening for today. It's up 325. So we are not near the top of an all-time high. We're close to it, but it still, to me, looks like a triple top or a kind of a modified head and shoulders. So that's all I have for you. Enjoy the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend, and good luck trading. I will see you at the next update. For any of you that are interested in trading gold with me, I will send you emails or texts, whichever is easiest for you, and basically make gold calls for you, long or short or neutral, and you can become part of the Triton Wave Consulting family. I will leave this up for you to read it. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me. My name is Rodney Julian. I am the Triton Wave Guy at gmail.com. Have a great weekend.